checkmate Eagle 5-1 for confirmation, confirm anchor.
Source 521772.
Hot haul.
And it goes left. Now we're on, let's do it. 1-2's off, right press. Engage. 932 Tony.
Hello, we're back again. This is the DCS SITREP. I'm your host, Prickly Hedgehog. We're here talking about the world's premier combat flight simulator for the home PC. It's DCS World, of course, and this week, very exciting news. We have the early access purchase option for the F-100D Super Sabre by Granelli Designs. This has been in the works for some time now, and we have all been eagerly watching the progress of this magnificent Cold War jet, and now it's available for pre-order in the e-store as said. Now, I took a break last week because of a kitchen project, so I apologize for that. I got that one wrapped up. I'm a little under the weather today, had yesterday off, so I've been a bit sick lately. So I'll do my best, hopefully the voice holds up. But let's dig into the F-100D Super Sabre by Granelli Designs and what Eagle Dynamics is telling us we're going to get with this magnificent new option. So according to the team, this is the first of the Century series of US fighters that was affectionately nicknamed the Hun. This impressive design was the first to exceed Mach 1 in level flight and was recognized as one of the Cold War's most impactful early fighter bombers. Now, it was considered a real challenge to fly and marked an important technical evolution in combat aviation that spanned the gap between first-generation jets and later multi-role designs. The DCS F-100D will also include the Project High-Wire upgrades for an even more capable Hun experience. This is really good news. Now, following more than 3 years of intense development, Granelli Designs presents a superbly detailed, fully interactive cockpit with an equally impressive external model. The module features a carefully crafted flight model, authentic avionics, aircraft systems, and weapons that reflect the F-100D's operational complexity. You will encounter challenges such as complex manual weapons deployment and high-speed strike missions. This aircraft is going to expand the range of options in the Cold War era mission set and also multiplayer servers. The aircraft introduces distinctive operational challenges and collaborative strategies that were characteristic of the era. It entered service on September 27, 1954, and it was the first US fighter capable of sustained supersonic level flight, and the first of the Century series aircraft played key roles during the early stages of the Vietnam War, mainly facing MiG-17s and a range of AAA. The aircraft were operated by the United States, Turkey, France, Denmark, and Taiwan, which retired the last F-100 in 1988. So it was around for a very, very long time. And like a lot of things of the era, they were kind of built to last. And there are still a few surviving examples, one of which Granelli Designs was able to get hold of as part of their research and development. Now, the F-100D was primarily tasked with close air support and strike missions. It could efficiently deliver a wide range of ordnance. It was much improved over the F-100C, which suffered from the deadly Sabre Dance flight anomaly. Even after the Project High-Wire improvements, the demanding flight characteristics still required high pilot proficiency, and the risk of the Sabre Dance, although lessened, still remained. So it's going to be a challenging one to fly, particularly in the low-speed regimes. Now, one of the features that never apparently got implemented in the real world, for practical reasons, they are going to include that, and that is the zero-length launch, or ZEL equipment, that allows pilots to simulate launching the aircraft without a conventional runway. Now, ZEL was an experimental program designed to rapidly deploy the aircraft using a rocket booster to take off from mobile platforms. This ensured that aircraft could operate if runways were destroyed. Must have made landing a little bit interesting. Now, the US Air Force investigated launching fighter aircraft from mobile trailer platforms equipped with a rocket booster, and in 1958, the F-100D demonstrated this ability at Edwards Air Force Base by generating 130,000 pounds of thrust to accelerate from a stationary position to flight speed within seconds. Following booster separation, the aircraft transitioned to jet propulsion. The launch acceleration reached approximately 4G. Quite an interesting piece of equipment. Now, the concept was not operationally implemented. As I said before, Granelli Designs, though, will incorporate this option into DCS. Mission designers can simulate ZEL operations using dispersed launch sites such as road bases, concealed forward arming and refueling points, and improvised dispersed runways. This approach enables rapid response strike missions by allowing pre-positioned armed aircraft at the ready. So pre-order is available right now for day one access to Fly, this iconic Cold War powerhouse, and it's 30% off right now. And again, the team thank us for our passion and support for this project and many others in DCS world. Thus far, 2026 is proving to be a very good one for aircraft that we have been waiting for. We've been waiting for the LA-7, we got that. It's been a great introduction. And now we are seeing the second aircraft in game here, and the F-100D Super Sabre will no doubt be a very, very popular one. So stay tuned for more information on the release date, which I'm sure is not far away. Go get your hands on one. We'll do a giveaway, I think, on this one when the aircraft is released. So stay tuned for that little giveaway coming up. As I said last week, I had to take a little hiatus from the SITREP to work on home projects, and we didn't cover news that was going on in DCS world. And one of those was the updates to the CH-47F, and the development of that aircraft continues with attention on the Digital Automatic Flight Control System, or DCS. I suppose that's how you say it, specifically the position hold, they say. So this feature will provide a stable hover reference that enables pilots to maintain precise positioning with less effort. This feature is in internal testing right now and being tuned to ensure responsiveness and, naturally enough, accuracy. They are also integrating Transitional Rate Command, or TRC mode, which will work hand in hand with position hold to further expand the Chinook's flight envelope. With the completion of the DCS modes, pilots can look forward to improved workload management, enhanced mission flexibility, and reduced work load. Following this, our focus will shift to the new rope and sling loading system. This will bring multi-point sling loading to the Chinook that will offer a much greater range of logistical and transport scenarios. So good news there. They're also going to implement one of the most important additions for DCS world for the rotary ring aircraft. That is the X-ray based damage model. Now, much like what you've seen in the World War II aircraft, they say this system will simulate internal structures and component level damage that raises the bar for helicopter survivability and systems damage modeling. So that's going to be very, very exciting. The team is actively working on this as a high priority, which is good news. And this aircraft, the Chinook, is shaping up to be a highly capable, technically advanced module, and they are excited to provide more updates as these features continue to mature. That was the bulk of the news over the last couple of weeks. Well, let's turn to other teams now, including India Foxed Echo, who released a little bit of an update regarding some of their projects. Remember, they have the DCS G91 and the MB339. So they apologize for a lack of updates on the DCS projects because they have been working very hard on their Microsoft Flight Simulator projects, which they have several in that particular franchise. So what they have said here is that they are making significant progress in several areas with regards to the G91. In terms of 3D modeling, for example, they have decided to invest a substantial amount of time increasing the level of detail to an unprecedented level for their standards. This means that the G91 will have most likely the most detailed 3D models we have ever produced. Unfortunately, on the coding side, the new approach they have decided to take, which allows them even more detailed subsystem simulation down to individual components, is taking way more time than what they expected. But they have started integrating the new code into the cockpit, which is a huge step forward. So they don't have a release window yet, but they'll keep us posted on the progress. And they do say here that they will transfer this project over to Microsoft Flight Simulator in the near future, but the development of a full fidelity DCS module has higher priority. So don't be too disappointed there. And I don't think anyone's particularly disappointed over the delay if it means more detail and content for that particular module. And this is something that we're seeing quite a few teams take very, very seriously. I think in part because of the high bar now for 3D models and also the componentry that builds these aircraft. We saw it really with the F4 Phantom 2 from Heat Blue Simulations, which has raised that level of sophistication associated with these modules. And so all the other teams now, at least the serious ones, and I can't think of too many that aren't off the top of my head, because any of the ones that aren't currently interacting very well with the game, to put it bluntly. And so we're seeing now a very high bar indeed with regards to the production and quality of these modules. And this is one of the challenges, I think, for DCS World, is that you have so much work going on in these modules, and they take quite a long time to produce, anywhere between minimum of 2 years for the R&D and then up to 1 to 2 years to produce, again, depending on the sophistication of the particular module. And so this is why we don't have a vast array of aircraft in the game, and why it can be frustrating for some players looking for the kind of grand events that you might get with, say, for example, a dynamic campaign or a large dynamic campaign, because we don't literally have the full catalog of assets. And so therefore we have to be very careful about how those things are produced and what can be done with the game. It's still going to be an incredible experience when you break it down into, say, the specific assets that you can do, such as, say, Cold War. But there are limitations, of course. The module that you're going to be flying is going to be very detailed, but there may be some other bits and pieces that don't have all of the qualities that we would expect of a particular era, just because the modeling is so intense, if you like. So it's one of the benefits of DCS World, because of the high details that we get, these very, very sophisticated flight models, which are in their own right very complex. But then you don't get the same breadth. You have the depth in the module as a study sim, but you don't get all of the assets that you perhaps expect from those kinds of things, or they take a long time to produce. So, yeah, it's I guess a blessing and a curse in some ways with DCS World. But I think most of us that are true fans of aircraft would prefer the depth rather than the arcade style breadth that you get with some other games. So moving on to what they talk about here with their MB339, which is a delightful little aircraft. So in the past few months, their main focus has been rewriting the radio system to take advantage of the native VoIP features. So this required a substantial effort from their side to reorganize the avionics, but the update is now complete and tested. Again, this is an example of just how what sounds like a very simple thing takes time to produce. So this will most likely be deployed in the next DCS update, and what they've done is added a long push-to-talk press for the VoIP and a short push-to-talk press for the comm menu. And they've fixed the VoIP, which shows 4 radios instead of 2, and they've fixed background CDU brightness. And they will continue developing the MB339 for DCS, although the main target of their development attention is to complete the DCS G91 beta. So still quite a lot of work there. That project's still obviously fairly far out yet. When we see more rendered images with textures and colors and things like that, we'll have a better picture of where things are at. Obviously, then the process has to go through quite a lot of testing, and then as we saw with Grinelli Designs, is F-100D internal testing with Eagle Dynamics before they can sign off on the final module. So there's some steps ahead there. Now, another aircraft that has kind of been hinted at recently with just a headshot was this one from Magnitude 3, who produced the Corsair. And a lot of people are saying this looks like it's going to be the Crusader aircraft, the F-8. This is a project that they have been cooking in the background for some time. We don't have a whole lot of information as to where it's at. Very, very exciting to see some work on this. Naturally enough, it's going to be a very popular aircraft to see in game. It will embellish, once again, the stable of Cold War aircraft that we seeing in the game, along with things like the MiG-17, the already mentioned F-100. We're talking about the F-104 Starfighter. There's just a ton of stuff kind of percolating through that era, which again has a lot of appeal to those of you that enjoy the Cold War aircraft, that are less interested perhaps in sitting down and learning about all the menus within the MFDs of some of our modern aircraft. although those ones will be very, very popular as well. On that basis, we do have some aircraft that I think are going to raise the bar beyond what we perhaps have seen already in the form of the Eurofighter and, of course, the Rafale, which is coming out sometime after that, thanks to massive support from Dassault. This is a really exciting era in DCS world and is going to embellish all sorts of experiences and provide, you know, a truckload of learning, I guess, for those of you that are interested in diving into the complexities of these aircraft that are coming out. And even the simple ones still demand quite a lot of attention. As we said before with the F-100D, it's still not going to be an easy aircraft to fly just because it isn't festooned with all of the complex menus. It's a different kind of flying by the seat of your pants experience, again, which requires some aviation skills as well. And a lot of people like those. There's a lot of pilots out there. I was just looking at, I think I reposted one of Paco Garichi's videos flying the Yak 50, I think it was, and a heck of a lot of fun, you know, flying some of these older aircraft with perhaps less of the accoutrements that we get with some of the modern aircraft, but a lot of pilots enjoy them. We saw Nick Gray talking about what it was like to fly the Hawker Sea Fury, which still demanded some degree of attention, wasn't as hands-on perhaps as the Spitfire. So these older aircraft, these perhaps in some ways more simplistic sounding aircraft, still have plenty of appeal. And this is something I like seeing in DCS World, along with hopefully the accompanying maps that we're going to get here in the near future. We have some maps in the background there cooking. I think WAG's indicated that recently, that we're going to be excited for some more green looking maps coming up. So stay tuned on what that might mean. We've already speculated perhaps the Korean Peninsula. There's been talk of the Vietnam, Southeast Asia type map here. So there's still plenty of things to look forward to. And 2026 is looking pretty good. I'm hoping I have some information I'm sitting on in the background. Hopefully I can reveal something soon about an aircraft that I think a lot of people are going to enjoy seeing in the game. We'll have to wait and see if I'm allowed to reveal more about that in the near future. So stay tuned for more as it comes to hand. Now, don't forget, right now, there is a fantastic bonus on Pimax Crystal Super QLED VR headsets. Those of you who love the VR simulation. $200 off, normally roughly $1,600, roughly rather $1,800 US, down to $15.99 right now. And if you use my code PricklyHedgehog72, you'll get an extra 2% off. So don't miss out. This one goes through to July, I believe. So certainly nothing to sneeze at. This is the ultimate VR simulation for VR games like Racing Simulation and, of course, DCS World. I absolutely cannot get by without VR these days. It is such an amazing experience, such an immersive experience, so thoroughly recommend it. But get an extra 2% off with my code PricklyHedgehog72 or PHH72. Also stay tuned for that giveaway on the F-100D that I'm going to do. We'll do that next week, I think, and that'll give me some time to plan and get make sure I have my money squared away so that you can get that. But if you can't wait, it's 30% off right now in the e-store. So again, well worth picking up if you are a fan of Cold War aircraft. All right, that'll do for this week. Thanks for tuning in and putting up with my scratchy voice, which is starting to conk out now. And I need to wrap it up. So take care, everyone. Thanks for tuning in again. We'll see you next time on the DCS SITREP.